Hi everyone, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Peter Llewellyn. I run the services at medcommsnetworking.com. So if you haven't been to have a look, you'll find resources, activities, services for the global medcoms community, by which I mean people who work in and around medical communications, medical education, medical publishing, the global community of medcoms specialists, and indeed those people who want to join medcoms. This week we've had a MedComms Forum, which was an open Zoom meeting, which talked about home working in medcoms, all sorts of different aspects of home working. Obviously, we're talking to you at the end of what has been a crazy year for everyone. This is December 2020. We've all had to go back home at various stages and adapt to different ways of working. So we pulled together this week on the 16th of December, a group of people from the industry who talked us through their perspectives on how the work has gone. You'll find the whole recording at NetworkPharma TV, but it is a hefty 2 hours of video. It's well worth watching if you can, because the presentations all complement each other quite nicely. But we've taken each of the presentations, split them up, and provided them individually in this way. So thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoy. Cheers.
Our last but by no means least presenter this afternoon is Iain Smith. Iain's going to be talking on why I've had enough with this working from home rubbish. Why I've had enough with this working from home rubbish. Iain is a very interesting individual. He's a consultant and a mentor, a coach, worked with many, many big companies. And he has helped to, over the last 5 years, to get remote workforces working, improving productivity, and lots of other good things. And obviously COVID has made his skills particularly important. He tells me he speaks quickly, so all the topics he's going to cover, including neuroscience, biology, and philosophy of this topic, we're going to get a kind of a storm of information, I'm guessing. Iain, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Stephen, can you hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
And can you see my slides by any chance?
Yes, we can see your slides.
Wow, so if I change it, then something will happen, is that right? Let's have a little look.
Absolutely, go for it.
Great, I certainly will. And if not, then Christian can help me out. Okay, so, wow, it's sort of doing it automatically. This is great, I love it. Okay, so why I've had enough of this working from home rubbish? Well, because I'm a smart working consultant for half of my time, as Stephen said, and this isn't smart working. We were mostly, I understand in your industry, not always and not everyone, but mostly people were rocking into offices and doing work. And, you know, with all the inefficiency and madness that brings, and now suddenly we're all working from home with all the inefficiency and madness that brings. And so early days when, I've seen a number of surveys, the one we went through earlier here today and in various other companies, many people thought this was going to be great. Look, here we are, living the dream, sleeping late. I don't even have to get dressed, possibly, save a few hours of commuting time, my gosh, for Christian going from Milton Keynes to London, that's probably 50 quid return a day. Madness. And a little shout out to Rob Davies, saving all that money on wasabi and Pret. I think he said that earlier on today. So, and real dedicated time to do work. A bit like when I used to work from home, when I had that specially most important thing to do, and I would never think of going into the office to do that, or if I had to do it in the office, I'd be early or late or at the weekend. All of the money that's been spent by companies to create office space, and the most important work is nearly always done somewhere else, because no interruptions and no delays, no points failures at Clapham Junction, no traffic jams on the M, whatever. Oh, this was going to be a great thing, except for many, as we've heard. And as you can see, this is just a list from various surveys that I've done in groups. And you could just read down that list. And I won't. It's really bad practice to read lists, so I'm not going to do that. You can probably read quicker than me. And you've scanned down it by now. Most of you will be on too many flipping quizzes. I'm really sorry for the person who's about to do a quiz. I could have edited that out had I realized, but I didn't have time. Anyway, so people, Finally, though, hang on. People are saying they miss personal time during their commute. Today, these slides are bang up to date for you, Stephen. Today in the Times, here is a headline. Get back on the commute. It's just the ticket. It's for you. It's great for you. Is that really true? And in fact, there's such a desire for having a space between work and home that these guys, Microsoft, are coming up with some sort of virtual commute, a process that allows you to slow down from your day before you enter your house again and get sucked into the minutiae of doing the washing up or whatever it might be. But let me go back to that list. That first set of the stuff on the list here, I never finish on time. My diaries are washed with meetings. I'm getting more emails than ever. My Manish was rubbish face-to-face and is worse remotely. Well, actually, most of that stuff is just true of before COVID. If you had a rubbish manager then and you've got a rubbish manager now, it is worse, but it was bad anyway. Email, none of us have ever been taught really how to use email. That training course that never happened. You know, when do you CC someone in? What do you do if you're CC'd? Are you a spy if you BCC? This is all madness. And email was there as messenger and as all these other things, WhatsApp and text and mobile phones, you know, even the fax probably, all there to save us time and make it more efficient for us. But actually the reverse is true. And then we look at another area. I miss the routine. Well, luckily, you know, we heard earlier, Christine, I think, was talking to us about the routine. And yeah, so maybe we can do something about that. And then, oh yeah, all that noise from my family and neighbors. I came across this term while I was working with a group of people in early April. Mysophonia. Yeah, I won't read the slide, but basically it's an enhanced connection between your limbic brain and your senses. And what it means is you can't stand other people's noises. That's sort of okay in an office. Thomas Kilsman and their work around conflict were really clear. In an office space, you probably, you know, 80% likely not to get into conflict people because it's just not worth it. But unfortunately at home, you're 80% likely to get into conflict. So if you don't like your husband clicking his pen or the way that your wife eats an apple, you know, it might drive you crazy and you can't go anywhere. There's no concept of you having the commute to get away and then coming back later. You're living with it. And when I was running some sessions early in April and May, you know, a lot of people were talking about the noises. You know, someone said to me, you cannot believe how noisy my husband is emptying the dishwasher while I'm on a call. It's almost like, you know, it's the only piece of housework he does, and he does it to demonstrate to everyone in the world how diligent he is as a supportive husband. God, just driving me crazy. So what can we do about this stuff? So here's what I think we can do. And here's what I tell my clients to do, although I never give advice. I never give advice because no one wants advice. It would always be from my frame of reference. I would be guessing. It's really bad. What I do instead is I help people think things through. And what we get to often, and so this is where I've got to with most of my clients, is talking about control. Now, here's a guy. Here's one of my favorite guys, Epictetus. Now, we're going way back here. This is, you know, before any technology really that Christian would recognize. And what he said was, I'm really worried, he said. I'm translating directly from the Greek. He said, I'm really worried that I'm concerning myself with things that are out of my control. And this is making me ill. And therefore, and he wrote many treatises. You can find a Penguin book with all of his stuff for about £4, I think. And what the things he was worried about. He was worried about the state of his nation's government. Yeah, okay, that's a bit of a constant. He was worried about his health. Yeah, that's okay, except that he didn't think he could control it in the way that we understand now. If we eat 5 a day and we exercise and we drink less, all those things. He was also worried about the speed of change, which has often concerned me because what on earth was going on in the speed of change in AD 100? But what he was really clear about was that if he didn't do that, and Stephen Covey nicked this, by the way, and he turned it into these circles of control in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What the essence is if we only focus on the stuff that we can control and ignore the rest, actually, this plays to our mental health and it plays to our productivity. I mean, pretty clear where we should focus on the stuff that we control, but do we? And are we now? I mean, are you watching the news more? Are you reading what's going on Twitter? Are you on social media? I'm reading stuff at the moment that's telling me just to get off social media. There is no positive benefit at all. And I'm beginning to be inclined to agree with it. It really affects my ability to do, and to quote Cal Newport, deep work. So, okay, if I'm going to take control, and actually I want to work in harmony with my mind and my body, because that's all I've got, here are the things, and I'm going to break these down, conscious that there's a quiz starting anytime now. Do the most important things first, and I'll tell you why. Divide your time into 90-minute chunks, because that's how our biology works. Build times when you can prevent interruptions, and take energizing breaks. So we're going to share the slides. I'm going to run through bits of these. So the first thing I would say is, why is it important to, neuroscience tells us this. It's our prefrontal cortex. If you exhaust it on pointless other people's priorities, like emails first thing in the morning, you ruin the most incredible part of your brain. And so, without talking for any length on that, you can find out loads of stuff, and David Rock is your reference, massive amounts of research, and you'll find loads of stuff online. The essence is, do the most important stuff first. Here's what I talked about: Ultradian rhythms. Work in 90-minute chunks and take 20-minute breaks. If you do a 90-minute chunk and then you carry on, you ruin your ability to have a second pristine and effective 90-minute chunk. But if you take a break, go for a jog, go for a walk, dance for 20 minutes to 1970s Earth, Wind and Fire songs, doesn't matter what it is. But if you do that, your next 90 minutes can be as good. And I have some clients now who are able to do 4 or 5 times of 90-minute effort a day. And they're actually getting their week's work done by lunchtime Tuesday, which means they can spend the rest of the week on pointless drivel of all the other stuff that they have to do. Here's some stuff from the same guy, Tony Schwartz. I'm just going to quickly click through and just show you this, which is, if you can work on this side of the grid between performance and renewal, this is your 90 minutes and 20-minute break, or sometimes 30. That's where you want to be. We've got to avoid interruptions. Look at all this stuff that prevents us getting work done, including you and your phone. The average American, by the way, checks their phone every 3 minutes. How often do you check your phone? Multitasking, again, that we're going to share the slides, but look, it does really bad stuff. It can drop your IQ by 10 points. I was told early on by Stephen, as he briefed for me for this call, that you're all really super clever people, so probably you can afford that drop of 10 points. But I work with lots of people who can't. And what's the impact of all the interruptions? I mean, here's some great research. It can take 25 minutes to get back in the zone, and people on average are losing a quarter of their day being distracted by madness. So how can you make this all happen? I'm saying at the end of each day, finish 15 minutes early and decide the most important thing that you need to get done next day. And then book it into your schedule and book 90-minute chunks, and put, like Christian, put your yoga in your diary. So a prompt comes up and reminds you. Turn off your email. Tell people that if they want to get hold of you urgently, email is a rubbish way of doing it. And I tell my clients, I won't see email if you send it to me, except for when I look. And I check like first class and second class post. Those of us who are old enough to remember the second of those. I check them twice a day. And that way I can do it within a sensible work schedule without affecting all the really important stuff I've got to do. And finish at the time you said you would. So finally, a call to action. Here we go. As a result of listening to someone like me or any of the other people who've talked today and given you top tips, do you know what? The percentage of people who actually do something is shocking. It's this. I don't upsell many courses if only 5% of people do stuff. So I always end to a call for action. And brilliantly, this will play to what the guys who've organized this have said. They want stuff in the chat. So please type in the chat now a commitment, one thing that you'll do as a result of any of the stuff that you've heard today. Just one thing. Let's see that chat go on fire. And it'll give some really good data as to the effectiveness of the various sessions in this call. So,
Okay, thank you very much. As I said, that was just one presentation from what was an excellent afternoon on the 16th of December 2020, when we came together for a MedComms Forum to talk about home working in MedComms. You will find the other presentations and indeed the full presentation, the full recording of the whole afternoon, about a 2-hour video over at NetworkPharma TV. Well worth watching. You'll find lots of practical tips and useful insights into how we're all getting on in MedComms in these strange times. So thank you very much for watching. Do please come along to medcommsnetworking.com if you want to see what else we're doing, and take care. Cheers.